Yeah, sure. So I think from a marketing perspective, there's one learning, which I think has been interesting from my perspective, and that is this whole new world of influencer marketing, and what the word influencer marketing actually means. Um, Luckily, I have a girlfriend who is very much involved in that whole world, more so than I am. And she actually helps run the business with me now as well. So she is offering advice, support, help, and specifically around marketing as well. She understands that whole space much better than I do. I've been when I first started, my initial thinking was lots of followers, therefore they're going to sell my product for it very well. And I soon learned that was not the case at all. Followers does not equal audience or community.
No, it just equates to high amounts of dopamine.
Exactly. And part of my naivety at the time meant that I was sending stuff out to these big people and not getting anything in return. I'd get posts, no sales.
No, I mean, it's a social proofing tool more than anything these days. It's the same with Facebook likes, Instagram follows, Twitter follows. It's the same thing. Even the amount of likes you get on your post doesn't indicate that it's actually got that much brand recognition, because you can pay for that shit.
Yeah. So what we've done, so from an influencer marketing perspective, and something that I found extremely useful is really being quite selective about who you work with. So we, rather than sending something out to anyone and everyone who's, been on a reality show or is part of, an MTV program or something like that, which, are going to have lots of followers and stuff like that, finding someone who maybe is within your community, within your space, understands your brand, understands what you're trying to do, not necessarily the biggest in the world, but can either do one of three things. That is, one, equate to sales through their audience if they've got a strong audience. Two, which is very strong in my understanding, is content. If they can create you content, and a guy that we work very closely with, a guy called Stefan, who shout out Stefan. He's got not the largest following, but his feed is amazing. The content he creates with his photographer is fantastic. Some of our photos from our website are from his photo shoots, and you have an expectation that they're not necessarily going to make you the best or make you a lot of sales off the back of their posts, but they're going to create you bloody good content. So I don't mind working with him and working with people like that, because of the I don't necessarily get sales in return, but I get good content that I know I could reuse. So that's key. So someone like that, I think, even though traditionally influencer means you've got, in today's society, influencer means you've got a lot of followers, but that isn't what influence marketing is. It's about the influence you have on a community, and albeit his community small, he has an awful lot of influence because of the rich content he creates. So I think it's just understanding that, and I think that's been massive for us in terms of creating stories, creating content from an influencer lens.
So what was the process that you undertook in order to find influencers in the first place?
So it's scouring social media. It's scouring people who are popping off.
Then finding the ones that you resonate most with, and then you probably do hashtag searches and then just DM them.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, being part of the streetwear community, you get to know the people who are popular, the people who are posting that kind of stuff. Then off the back of them, you can find people who are. If I was to go to, from a streetwear perspective, there's a massive YouTuber who always gets the latest Supreme and Off-White and all that kind of stuff. I can go to his page, and whilst I might not necessarily send stuff to him, but I can go to his most recent Instagram post and look through some comments of people who are in the same community as we are, who are trying to do what he is doing and growing their page and growing their following and all that kind of stuff. This whole micro influencer kind of term, which is used a lot nowadays, and they're the kind of people who, through comments we can find. We get a lot of people come to us as well.
Sorry to
Message us.
interrupt again, mate. Micro influencers, are they essentially influencers within a niche? Was that how you would describe them?
So micro influencers are people who are not necessarily. So they can either be in a niche, or they can be people who are not fully established as a household name, but they're not your everyday person, if that makes sense. They have a following. They are building a community. They are building an influence, and you can see that. You can start to see the influence they're having, whether that's between 10 to 20 odd thousand followers. They get gifted a few stuff here and there, rather than your massive 100k plus followers, millions of followers, those kind of guys. It's like that tier down.
Okay. Sorry, just back to what you were saying. I interrupted you midstream.
It's fine. So so it's fine. Finding those kind of guys is important from a marketing perspective. Like I said, my girlfriend helps vet and validate everyone we send stuff out to. Otherwise, I would send stuff out to everyone and anyone. So having that level-headed side as well is always very beneficial. So I think that's a good.
I can cut this bit out if you want, mate. If you don't want her to see it.
No, it's fine. Honestly. So I think that's a good tip I would give. Just being sensible around that, but also not being afraid to jump onto bandwagons that are growing. The last couple of weeks we've since lockdown, actually lockdown has done a tremendous thing for social media, and in particular it's done a tremendous thing for TikTok. Now, I don't know if you're on it, however, it's grown to a complete another level. Now, I was looking at their stats actually the other day for the amount of downloads they've got in such a short space of time, and it's like surpassing Facebook and Instagram and all that kind of stuff. It's absolutely crazy. So on there's a lot of new people who are starting to emerge as micro influencers because they're early to the platform. They're starting to get that following. So we sent an item out to a guy who's starting to build his following on TikTok. His videos get over 1 million views per video. And it's crazy, and the way the platform and the algorithms work on there at the moment means it's very natural compared to the likes of Instagram and Snapchat and stuff
very
like that.
Natural. In what sense?
In the sense that it's the way Instagram works is Instagram, YouTube, stuff like this. They force products, they force pages and profiles onto you that they believe you might like. The way Instagram algorithms work is, there's holes you can fall under if you're, abusing hashtags and all that kind of stuff.
It all comes down to their own targeted advertising algorithms, of course. Yeah.
From a TikTok perspective, their algorithm is very natural, where you could make a video that has 60 views, and then you upload another video and you could get 1 million views, and then the third video after that can be back to 60 views. It all comes down to the content and what you're creating, not you as a person. Now, obviously, over time, as the platform gets bigger, that initial phase will naturally wear out, because that's the way that people are established. People the influencers will rise to the top, and you'll have this sphere of influencers.
Do you feel, however, though, that TikTok hasn't got as much longevity as, say, the other social media platforms? I ask that simply because they're all short form videos. There's not a huge amount of value that can genuinely be gained from them, except for attention span stealing. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of Vine.
Absolutely. It is Vine at the end of the day. And yeah, for the Vine, obviously, went down not long after it launched.
Yeah.
I think it was only up for a few years.
I think it was post Twitter acquisition, wasn't it?
Yeah. But it will. I think the biggest thing with TikTok is it will establish a new wave of influencers. It already has I'm big into the whole YouTube space and that kind of thing. And there's a whole bunch of YouTubers that I follow that started on Vine, but are now very, very influential on YouTube and as social media personalities. And you're already seeing the same with TikTok and TikTok stars who are now earning, 15, 16-year-olds who are earning millions of money. And even when TikTok dies, you know that they are going to be the next generation's reality stars and influencers and people like that.
Without a doubt. I don't think that was my argument. My argument was more in terms
From a
of
platform perspective.
Yeah, from a platform perspective, is it worth investing in it? Because I'm not sure. Well, I suppose maybe in the short term it is, but in essence, if you are a brand starting out now, and is it worth going in straight away when there's a possibility that it's going to die out maybe in the next couple of years?
I think the good thing about from a marketing perspective is you have to be able to be you have to be adaptable and flexible. Ultimately, from a marketing perspective, my ambition and goal from a marketing perspective is to get my product out to as many people as possible. Now, if that means sending a product to a person who is on TikTok and I know that he's going to get 1 million views on that particular video and he tags the product or whatever, and I've reached 100 or I've reached 1 million people in the short term, then that's a tick in the box for me. If TikTok dies as a platform and I've built a relationship with a individual and he's now growing his platform he's branched out from TikTok and onto different platforms, and I've already built that relationship with him, that's a win-win. And I think, again, that comes down to the whole micro influencers. If you build relationships with people who aren't yet established, when they are established, it's not going to be forced. But the thing I hate is when you can see it all the time. You go on Instagram and you see these people and you know that they've either paid to post that or they've been sent it for free, and it's just, everything's the same. One day they'll post a photo of a hoodie with the most generic text ever. Next day they'll post another hoodie with the most generic text ever, and you know how it's gone down. They've charged 60 quid for a post, and there's no personal feeling with that, and that's what I don't like. Whereas with micro influencers or people, if you can start to build that relationship early, Stefan's a fantastic example, and he'll appreciate that. I've probably given him like 100 shout outs.
You're giving him 2 plugs now, mate.
Yeah. I know. But, his profile is growing, and I would like to hope that I've built a relationship with him, and more importantly, he's built a relationship with our brand, that when he is bigger, that, he still represents the brand on his own merit without feeling like we have to send him something. And, if you can adapt to new platforms like TikTok and start to build a relationship with influencers who, yes, TikTok, if it dies, if it doesn't last, at least you've got something out of it in the short term and built some relationships in the long term as well. But in terms of a platform, you're right. I can't see where it's going to go. I don't know where it's going to go.
No, you can use all the sevens you want, mate, but you're never going to be that mystical, mate, to be able to foresee the future. Now,